Welcome back to my Road to Completion guide for Dark Souls 3. We're now in episode number 7, and we have a lot of things that we need to complete in this episode, guys. The first thing is going to be picking up this item. This is called Iron Flesh. This is actually a Pyromancy. There's a total of 27 Pyromancies in the game, and again, that's going to be your very first one. Of course, once we get all 27, we'll be able to pop our trophy. Then I want you guys to head this way and kind of stay near the cliff to my right. See that? Just go around the trees, and you can just kind of roll through the swamp if you need to, because it's a little bit deeper through these parts of the swamp, and running's a bit slow. Rolling's just a little bit quicker. Then we're going to head up here. We need to extinguish 3 flames. Oh, I'm showing you there that sometimes that enemy will chase you. If that enemy starts to chase you guys, just quit the game, okay? Load back in and then come up here and interact with this flame. We basically have to extinguish 3 flames in this area. That was your first one. And then once we do that, we'll be able to proceed to the next area, okay? Then we'll come over here. We want to grab the 2 Homeward Bones and then use one of them to go back to the bonfire last rested at. Perfect. Now we want to head in the direction of the next flame that we need to extinguish, and on the way we're going to be picking up another Estus Shard, which is going to be right here. This will be your 8th one. We're going to need a total of 15, and remember, I included the Estus Flask and the Ashen Estus Flask in that count, okay? So that's going to be your 8th one. Then grab the Titanite Shard. Remember, we're still trying to collect those so we can level up our gear a little bit later on. And then of course up here is going to be the second flame that we need to extinguish. There's going to be 2 enemies though. So notice that I'm just trying to wait for the one on the left to turn his back and walk away. That way I don't pull both of these enemies at the same time, right? Then we're just going to kill these enemies per usual. Remember, just wait till they swing first and hit them, or circle strafe around them, you know, until they swing and they miss. And then of course you guys can get your hits in that way. Pretty simple stuff at this point if you've been following the guide and taking note of all my strategies. Now we're going to come up here and do the same thing to this enemy, and then after this we're just going to extinguish that flame. Then I'll hop back in with some more commentary. Alright, so after you guys have extinguished flame number 2, we're going to head off in this direction, take a left, go down the stairs, and we need to pick up 2 Titanite Shards. But keep in mind, you guys will be chased at this point, at least by 1 enemy, potentially 2. What we're going to do is just keep our sprint up, watch your stamina bar, grab the Titanite Shard. We're going to go all the way to the cliff. Again, watch that stamina bar, take a left. We're going to clear the fire, we're going to turn around, and if we see anybody chasing us, we're going to quit the game, okay? If we don't see anybody chasing us, no need to quit. Just grab the Titanite Shard, and then we're going to go to the left up the stairs and head toward the next flame, okay? Just make sure you grab both of those Titanite Shards. You're going to have 1 enemy up here on your right. Again, we're just going to circle strafe this enemy, or you guys can wait for him to swing and counter, however you want to do it. Pretty simple stuff at this stage in the game if you guys have been following the guide. Just gonna have to do a lot of damage to this enemy. Takes that's why we got to you know, level up our gear, right? Come over here and extinguish this flame. As soon as you guys are done, we'll head off in this direction. You'll see 3 enemies. Now you don't actually have to fight these enemies, just run through them. Then I want you guys to hit up this bonfire and set up a safety save. It's very important that you guys set up a save here because at this stage in the game you have about 20,000 souls. Some of you may have about 18,005. It just depends on how you decided to defeat Vort, but it should be around 20,000. And all we have to do is grab the Sage's Scroll right here. But oftentimes these enemies will crowd up on you and start hitting you all at once, and it can kill you really quick. So that's why you want to make sure you have that save, just so that you don't have to worry about losing those 20,000 souls. And you just want to keep running this route until you're able to get the Sage's Scroll and then come over here and quit the game, right? And of course, once you load back in, you just want to use a Homeward Bone, come back to the bonfire, and then you can continue. But like I said, it's just kind of random how that section of the run works, so just be careful, okay? Then we'll come down here, we're going to grab this Titanite Shard, and then we're going to scoot over here and grab the Undead Bone Shard. That's also for a trophy later on. That's going to be your very first 1 out of 10 that we need to collect. Then we have 2 more things I want you guys to collect here before we climb the ladder. The first one's on the left, going to be another Titanite Shard. And then we have another item called the Wolf's Blood Swordgrass. There's actually 30 of those that we need to collect in this run to pop a trophy, and this will be your very first one. We will be collecting a few of these as items, but most of these we're going to be farming at a later part of the run. Okay, so grab the Wolf's Blood Swordgrass, and I want you guys to go ahead and climb the ladder. Get past all these enemies. Sometimes these enemies will knock you off the ladder. You can always hit them a bit before you start climbing if you don't want them to bother you while you're starting to climb the ladder. But once you get pretty far up the ladder, they won't bother you, okay? Climb all the way to the top. We're going to take a right. If we continue to follow this path, we will find a fake wall up here on the left. Just like that. If you guys interact with it, it'll go away. You can hit it with your sword, you can roll into it, but the main thing is that you grab the Dreamchaser's ashes before you drop off. You guys can light this bonfire. We're going to need this bonfire for later on, but for now we want to fast travel back over to the Keep Ruins bonfire. Alright guys, not much to talk about at this point. We just have a very long run to make before we get to the next bonfire. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the gameplay, and I'll hop back in with commentary once we reach the next bonfire. Now, if you guys can't light this bonfire, it's just because the enemies from the previous area have chased you down this hallway. Of course, if that happens, guys, just go ahead and quit. When you load back in, they'll be despawned, and you guys can light the bonfire. Now, it's very important that you guys pay close attention to this next part, okay? We want to grab an item on the left called Atonement. This is a miracle. There's actually 35 miracles in the game. That's going to be your very first one. And I want you guys to grab this hollow gem, okay? And then I want you to go ahead and quit the game, set up a save. Okay, very important you guys set this save up, and then go ahead and equip the Homeward Bone in your bottom D-pad slot. What we need to do is jump off this cliff into the swamp. We're going to be chased by a bunch of enemies, and we do not want them to kill us, okay? So go ahead and grab this item. It's called the Golden Scroll, and then walk over here to this wall, pop the Homeward Bone, or use it just by hitting square, and then go ahead and head back to the shrine bonfire. Do that extremely quick, guys. We do not want those enemies to crowd you in that corner, because you're going to have nowhere to go, okay? Just make sure you have that down, and you guys will be good. That's the reason for the save there. Just in case it gets crazy, you guys can load back up your save and continue. Now, if you guys remember, this is the NPC that we freed earlier on in the run. We also grabbed Loretta's bone back at the Undead settlement. So all we're doing at this point is just giving this NPC Loretta's bone, because that's what he asked for, right? Then we can leave the conversation. I want you guys to walk away. Then I want you to quit the game. Now, you don't actually have to save at this point. Just quit, continue back in, and you'll notice that the NPC has now curled up. So now when you talk to the NPC, you're going to get the curl up gesture, okay? That's going to be your 9th one out of 33. Now, before we start spending souls, I just want you guys to notice that I have about 21,000 souls at this point, okay? We'll talk about that in a second. Let's come over here and talk to Andre. We want to reinforce our weapon, and we want to focus on the Storyteller staff. We want to make the Storyteller staff go to +3, okay? As soon as you hit X on top of the Storyteller staff, you'll see that it tells you where it currently is. Right then it was level 1. taking it level 2. Now it's level 2 going to level 3. We just want to stop at level 3, okay? Then we're going to come down here and reinforce the Estus Flask, okay? By the time you guys finish this, you should have 8 total allotments for your Estus Flask, and I'll show you that here in a second. If you go up to Allot Estus when you're done with this, with these prompts, just want to keep doing it until you can't select yes anymore, right? See, now we go up to Allot Estus. Now you should have a total of 8. You want to put 6 on your Estus Flask and 2 on your Ashen Estus Flask, okay? And then we're just going to go ahead and talk to Andre until he gives us the gesture called Hurrah. That's going to be your 10th one out of 33.
I'll hammer them back into shape. They take no pleasure, so handle them with care, if you would. There are 2 ways to see simple reinforcement. Reinforcement is straightforward. Infusion is a more advanced. Reinforcement requires Titanite. Bring the stones, that's my purpose after. In battle, you're well.
And there we go. So you guys should have reinforced your Storyteller staff to +3, reinforced your Estus Flask all the way, and got the gesture called Hurrah. If you've done that, everything's good for Andre. We'll come over here and talk to the other NPC that we freed earlier. This is Orbeck. He's going to be the one that sells us sorceries, okay? Remember, we do have to collect all the sorceries in the game in order to pop a trophy, so this will help with that. And all we want to do is give him the 2 scrolls that we just collected, the Sage's Scroll and the Golden Scroll, okay? And then we'll be able to buy some sorceries.
My, it's from Ulysses. Not even the Dragon School, what would the Xanthus scholars say? They would simply
Alright, so after his dialogue, you guys can select Learn Sorceries. Then I want you guys to buy 4 sorceries, okay? The first one's called Great Heavy Soul Arrow. Second one's called Spook. Okay, and then 2 over to the right from there is going to be the Pestilent Mist. And then the last one's called Hidden Body. That's going to be 4 sorceries toward the 34 that you need to pop a trophy. But the cool thing about buying those 4 sorceries is that now if you talk to Orbeck, okay, he's going to also give you guys a ring called the Young Dragon Ring. This is a great ring for us because it boosts our sorceries. So all the sorceries that we cast is going to be doing more damage to the enemies. Plus, it's your 4th ring out of 107 that you need to collect for a trophy. Now, let's go ahead and equip some rings here. We want to equip the Flame Stone Plate ring, first slot. Second slot, Young Dragon Ring. Third slot, Sage Ring. We picked the Sage Ring up back at the Crucifixion Woods. What this does, it allows you to cast magic quicker. Obviously, if you can cast magic quicker, you're not going to be exposed, right? Because you do have a casting animation that you have to go through. And then you guys can unequip the Homeward Bone. Now the next thing that we need to do is come up here and talk to the Shrine Handmaid. We want to give her Umbral Ash. It's going to be the 3rd option. And then we want to give her Dreamchaser's Ashes. We just picked those up a second ago. Every time we give her ashes, she will sell us more stuff. You guys can go ahead and pick the top option there if you want to. She'll sell us more stuff, and we're going to need to buy some rings and stuff like that from her a little bit later on in the run. But for now, we want to focus on selling items, okay? So just go through all these prompts, make sure you guys sell exactly what I sell, and then I'll hop back in here when we're talking to the next NPC. Perfect. Now we just want to come over here and talk to this NPC. We're trying to get another gesture, okay? Now I want you guys to notice this. Notice the talk prompt at the bottom there? And I just hit X one time, and now of course I'm just going through her dialogue. In a second, another talk prompt is gonna show up. I'm not gonna select it. See that? I'm just backing away and quitting the game. Okay, you don't have to save here, just quit. When you load back in, now you get another talk prompt. Talk to her again, and now when you go through her dialogue, she will give you the gesture called Darkmoon Loyalty. This will be your 11th out of 33. Okay, now that you guys have that gesture, let's go over there and talk to the Firekeeper. We want to level up our intelligence to 25, okay? We just got the Young Dragon Ring, we got the Sage Ring, you guys just bought a ton of sorceries. We're going to use those to our advantage. We want to make sure that we can do the most damage possible, okay? So take your intelligence up to 25. That's going to allow you guys to do more damage each time that you cast magic, okay? You guys should all be able to get to level 25 at this point. You can see how many souls I have left in my bank in the bottom right. If you can't, just go ahead and grab a bonfire anywhere, farm for some souls. Remember, every time you kill an enemy, they'll respawn when you rest at the bonfire. Farm for the souls you need to make sure you guys are at least level 25. Notice there that I just burned an Undead Bone Shard. We're gonna have to do that 10 times in the run in order to pop a trophy. And then I'm equipping the Great Heavy Soul Arrow, or I guess I should say I'm attuning the spell Great Heavy Soul Arrow. And now we're just gonna fast travel over to the Road of Sacrifices. And now we get to experiment with sorceries. What I want you guys to do is make sure you have on your Storyteller staff. You should if you've been following the guide. We want to throw on the symbol of avarice because this enemy that we're about to kill, we want to make sure we get maximum souls for. And quit the game. Let's set up a save. We've just done a lot of stuff. Make sure you lock in that progress. Switch to your Storyteller staff. Come to the doorway and just press R1. You guys will see how awesome the sorceries are, especially because we have you know, the rings on. We've increased our intelligence. It's not going to take but about 4 hits to kill that enemy, and you're done. You get a lot of souls. Once you guys collect the souls, of course, take the symbol of avarice off. Go ahead and rest at the bonfire to get all your magic back, and then we're going to run to the next area. I'll let you guys enjoy the gameplay, and I'll come back in when we get there. Okay, once you guys make it to the top, we'll come over here and grab this soul. You still have your Storyteller staff equipped. We're gonna come up here and kill this giant, okay? I want you guys to just walk up to the leg of the giant, get as close as you can and fire a Great Heavy Soul Arrow. And as soon as you do that, just back away, come down the steps and fire a couple of more and he should die fairly quick. Notice that I did put the symbol of avarice on just so I can collect as many souls as I can once he dies. Then I want you guys to pick up the ring that he drops called the Hawk Ring. That's going to be 5 of 107. And you guys know what it's time for. We got to pull the symbol of avarice off. That's going to be the running theme throughout this entire playthrough, guys. Throw that symbol of avarice on, collect those souls, and then pull that sucker off so we don't die, right? You can fall off right here or roll off, okay? We don't have to talk to this NPC, just run past him. See that? Even though you get a prompt, you do not have to talk to him. Then we're just gonna come down here. All you need to do is get the enemy's attention. Sometimes you have to fire maybe a Great Heavy Soul Arrow kind of off in the distance. And oftentimes you just have to wait for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Eventually he'll see you. But you guys can stand on this platform. You'll be plenty protected unless you're too close to the edge. He can actually hit you with his weapon. But if you stay back far enough, you can just come back here and just hit him with Great Heavy Soul Arrows until he dies. Okay, now as soon as he dies, you guys are going to pick up the fire gem. That's going to be your 5th one out of 15. And then we're going to come down here and pick up a Homeward Bone. Of course, take the symbol of avarice off. Of course, why wouldn't you? And then we're going to come down here and grab the Homeward Bone. It's to your right. And then we're going to go talk to the NPC. We didn't talk to him earlier, but now we definitely want to talk to him. We're going to be picking up 2 gestures here. Toast and Sleep. That's going to give you guys credit for 13 of 33 gestures.
For the moment, to your valor, long may the sun Well, I'm the only thing to do, really.
There we go, perfect, okay. Now you can just leave. We're gonna come over here and pick up another item. This is called the Pale Tongue. We have to collect 10 Pale Tongues throughout the run. Again, some of these we're gonna be picking up as items that are spread out kind of throughout the world map, but some of these we're also gonna be farming, okay. Come over here. All you have to do is just hit this corpse just like you did before. I was trying to hit it with a great heavy soul arrow there, and it kind of worked. I just ended up hitting it with my staff there. Grab the Pale Tongue, and then I want you guys to use a Homeward Bone from your inventory, just like that. And then we're going to go back to the bonfire last rested at. Now, once you guys arrive at this bonfire, go ahead and fast travel over to the Keep Ruins bonfire. Okay, guys, just a few more things and we'll be able to wrap up this episode. This was a big one. We're going to come down here and kill a giant crab. Now, you don't want to fight this crab in the swamp because you're going to be moving slower than the crab. What we're going to do is we're going to kill this enemy. There's another enemy over here to our left. That way we can kind of isolate the crab. Ideally, what we want to have happen here is we want to bait the crab back to the ramp. And then we're going to be on top of the ramp and the crab is going to stay in the swamp, okay? Now sometimes the crab will follow you up the ramp. If it does, I want you guys to go back to the bonfire. The crab will try to follow you in there, but it'll get stuck in the doorway. And then you can just stand to the left or to the right of the bonfire and just beam it with great heavy soul arrows and kill it fairly quick, right? But ideally what you want to have happen here is it follows you, but it stays down below. It's just a little bit quicker to do it this way. Sometimes when it gets on that ramp, it'll fall off the ramp, then it'll be in the swamp again, then it'll try to come back up the ramp, and it just gets old, right? So hopefully it stays down here for you guys. You just beam it with some great heavy soul arrows. When you kill this giant crab, you're going to be picking up another ring called the Lingering Dragoncrest ring. When that happens, I want you guys to go back to the bonfire, get your magic back, and then equip that ring. Notice that I'm putting on the symbol of avarice just before I get my final blow in so I can make sure I get maximum souls. The ring should show up any second. Boom, there it is. Notice the souls chime in. I'm going to pull the symbol of avarice off because we don't want to die. Then we'll come in here, hit up the bonfire, and then there'll be a 4th ring slot. I want you guys to equip the Lingering Dragoncrest ring. The Lingering Dragoncrest ring is really good, guys, because if we cast a spell like, Pestilent Mist, which we bought earlier, if we cast a spell like that, it'll stay out in the world map a lot longer, which will basically conserve our magic, right? We don't have a lot of magic right now. We have, that small blue bar there. We have 2 Allot Estus flasks, so of course we can replenish our magic if we get low, if we drink the Allot Estus flask. But when we cast something like Pestilent Mist, we want it to stay out in the world map a lot longer so we don't have to keep casting it, right? And using our magic. That's going to really come into play a little bit later on when we fight a specific boss. I want you guys to go ahead and quit out before you fight this boss though, and make sure you set up a safety save. And I'm going to show you guys a really cheesy way to defeat this boss. So we're going to come up here, just get his attention. You can either shoot him or like I did there, just run up real close. I'm getting some cheap shots in now as I'm walking back or running back. But ideally what you guys want to do is come down here and stand on the stairs He can't come down the stairs with you. So now that we have something that can hit him at range, just throw the Symbol of Avarice on, back down the stairs, and just keep hitting this dude with great heavy soul arrows. Like I said, if you guys run out of magic, just switch to your Ashen Estus Flask by hitting down on the D-pad, replenish, rinse and repeat until he dies. And there it is, guys. You're going to be picking up a ton of souls, and you're going to be getting the soul of a stray demon. We're going to need that a little bit later on. I told you guys that we could eventually trade in boss souls and get items and weapons and stuff like that. Well, this is definitely one that we're going to need. Notice that I'm just switching off the death trap that is known as the Symbol of Avarice. Just drains your health. Make sure you guys switch off. You don't need the first item. We just need the other two items, the Embers. Grab those. I mean, I guess you could get the third item too. You could just sell it later on for souls if you wanted to, but I just didn't have it as a part of the guide because the Embers are enough. But if you guys want to pick up the third item down there, you can. Now we're just going to run over here. We need to grab some more items. There's going to be some crystal lizards up here. I want you guys to kill them. Again, if they run away from you, you can reload your game. Just quit out, load back in, just hit continue, load back in, and they'll of course be there. They're just around this corner. You'll see them off in the distance. Up here. Some items we need to pick up as well. See how they start running away? Boom. Let's kill both of these crystal lizards. They're going to give you guys an item called the large Titanite Shard. That's going to help us level up our gear even more. Okay. Boom. There's one of them. Kill the second crystal lizard. You'll be able to get the other large Titanite Shard. And then behind us is going to be a miracle called the Lightning Spear. That's going to be your second miracle out of 35. And then over here is going to be the Dragoncrest Shield. Okay, make sure you guys grab that. And now we just want to go into our inventory, select Homeward Bone, and use that to travel to the bonfire last rested at. I know some of you are probably saying, Exonovant, where's the trophy at, bro? Jeez, it's coming up, I promise. We're going to be taking on the Crystal Sage. Just make sure you guys fast travel to the Crucifixion Woods. The Crystal Sage is a very typical boss fight, but it can be a little bit dangerous for a beginner because the magic that the Crystal Sage has does a ton of damage. But I'm going to show you guys a cheesy way to defeat this boss using the Storyteller staff, which is one of the reasons why I had you guys farm for it. If you're an advanced player, you already know how to defeat this boss fairly quick. But if you're a beginner, I wanted a really cheesy strat to set you guys up for success. What we're going to do is we're going to come inside of the boss room. I want you to stand behind this wall. If you go any further into the room, you will spawn in the Crystal Sage. So go ahead and make sure that you're two-handing your Storyteller staff, because we're going to be using that Poison Mist. Quit the game. Make sure you guys set up a safety save just in case. And then run into the room. The Sage is going to show up. Stand behind this wall. And then just go ahead and hit L2 to send out your Poison Mist. Notice that the damage has started on the boss bar. And then you guys can pretty much do whatever you want to at this point. You can kind of run back and forth because it's going to be firing these projectiles from the sky. So I don't know if I show it in this clip or not. So yeah, so I'm showing you here. If you want to try to avoid them, you can wait for the Sage to throw them out. And basically they're going to fall on top of your head. And you can move. When you move to a new location, now the next time that the Crystal Sage fires them off, it's going to go to your next location. And then you just move back and forth, right? You won't always be able to avoid the damage, but it'll mitigate some of it, right? And then basically we're just going to wait. We're going to let the poison do its thing. And eventually there's going to be some more Crystal Sages that show up. When that happens, I'll chime back in with commentary and let you guys know exactly what to do. Now you guys are going to know that you've entered the second phase of the fight when you start to see these crystals show up on the ground. Just head down here and be super aggressive and start killing all the enemies that show up that's not the Crystal Sage, okay? These are just basically fake enemies that they're trying to send your way to kind of distract you, right? We want these enemies to die because we want to inflict poison on the main sage, okay, one more time, and that's going to be enough to kill it for good. Okay, notice that I'm standing behind these columns and stuff to get some protection, because this crystal sage is casting a lot of magic. So, you know, timing is everything at this point. Be real careful. And then we just want to get close enough to where we can cast our poison mist again. And remember, you can do that through a wall, and I think that's what I do here. Just get close enough and then cast it through the wall. Notice no damage at the bottom, but notice when I cast it, now the damage has started again, okay? Once you have this enemy poisoned for the second time, you will kill it. So all you have to do is run back up here and wait. That'll be enough to finish the fight. You guys already know what time it is. We're going to throw on the symbol of avarice, collect as many souls as we can when this boss dies. That's a really cheesy way to defeat this boss. If you're a beginner, like I said, this boss can be a little bit tricky, so I hope that strategy helps you guys. There's the trophy crystal sage. We're going to come over here, light the bonfire, you know, wait for your souls to chime in first. Then you guys can take off the symbol of avarice. We'll light the bonfire. We're going to go to the next bonfire, set up a save, and that's going to be the end of this episode. Okay, so just make sure you light that bonfire, get all your Estus and stuff back. We're not going to kill any enemies, just run. Going to be a caged enemy up here. You guys can bypass him. And then you'll remember the next enemy from the previous area. We're not going to fight this enemy either, just keep rolling on through. Sometimes you get hit there, but it's not a problem. Just keep going all the way to the next bonfire. You guys go ahead and set up another save, and I will see you guys right back here in episode number 8. You guys be good.